Practice problem number 2 for chapter 24. This exercise is similar to the exercise that was completed in practice problem number 1. So if you haven't checked out that video yet and worked on that exercise, please do so before tackling this exercise in this video. Um, this exercise has a little bit more that you have to do as far as for work than the exercise that was completed in practice problem number 1 video. Okay, so this exercise requires us to perform departmental expense allocations, and we have to perform it in 4 different departments. We have the materials department, personnel, manufacturing, and packaging. And we're provided additional information that's associated with each of these departments. We are given the number of employees that are in those departments, the square footage, so the space, the size of the space in each of those areas, and then we have the asset values. Since they're inside a building, the building is going to be worth a lot of money, because it is an asset. So there's going to be certain areas that's going to be allocated asset value. So right below, we're provided with indirect expenses. And these are expenses that you can't directly assign a cost to. So these are indirect expense where you have to figure out how to allocate those expenses, because these are expenses. So we have supervision as an expense or indirect expense, utilities, and insurance. So it looks like the total cost came out to be $155,000. So this is a cost. And right beside the cost, we have allocation base. So what this is telling us is that this company have 3 indirect expenses that occur in these 4 departments. These expenses, you have to somehow allocate the costs amongst various areas, because you can't directly assign the cost to a specific, let's say, product or item that's generating a company revenue. It's hard to do that when you have supervisor salaries, utilities, and insurance, because it doesn't directly connect to an actual revenue source, if that makes sense. But these are costs, and you have to do something with them, because you're going to have to record them in the books. And in this case, you're going to have to allocate them somewhere, so that way they can be recorded in the company's books and recorded appropriately as well. So you're given allocation base. So for the supervision, cost of $82,500, that's supervisor salaries. In order to allocate that cost, the company is going to use the number of employees to do just that. Utilities of $50,000 in costs. The company is going to use the square footage that's occupied in order to allocate the cost of $50,000 from utilities. And then insurance, the company is going to use asset values as an allocation base to allocate the full $22,500 amongst the 4 departments. So all 4 departments are going to share the costs. And right below the allocation base, that's how they're going to do it. They're going to take supervision, use number of employees to allocate the cost. Utilities, use square footage that's occupied to allocate the cost. Insurance, use asset values to allocate the costs. That's how they're going to do it. They're going to share the wealth. So what I'm going to do here on this right side of this scenario or this exercise, I'm going to go ahead and set up the chart here. So I'm going to put materials, personnel, manufacturing, and packaging. Put down here totals. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to be taking care of as far as with the costs, allocating the costs to these 4 departments, is the supervision here. the supervision indirect expense. And we're going to take care of the allocation of the $82,500 that went towards supervision. So our job is to allocate the $82,500 amongst these four departments. So first thing we're going to do, this is a step-by-step process. Well, I'm going to go ahead and just bring in the number of employees that are in each area. So materials, we got 27. Personnel, we have 9. Manufacturing, we have 63. Packaging, we have 51. So that gives us a total of 150 employees. And so out of this, we're going to now apportion the number of employees in each department by the total number of employees in all four departments. That's our first step in order for us to get our percentage that needs to be allocated to each department. So for materials, we're going to take 27 employees and divide it by 150 total number of employees. That's going to give us 18%. Personnel, we're going to take 9 employees divided by 150 employees. That's going to give us 6%. Manufacturing, take 63 divided by 150. That's going to give us 42%. And then packaging, we got 51 divided by 150, and that's going to give us 34%. So just to do a check, make sure that these percentages equal to 100. 18 plus 6, that's 24. 24 plus 42, that's 66. 66 plus 34, yep, that's 100%. So this lets us know that we are going to account for all 100% of the cost of $82,500 that went towards supervision in each department. So now I'm going to go over here and I'm going to now allocate the $82,500 in costs that went towards supervision to materials department, personnel department, manufacturing department, and packaging department. So 18% of $82,500, that comes out to be $14,850. Okay, 6% of $82,500, that comes out to be $4,950. 42% of $82,500, that comes out to be $34,650. And then 34% of $82,500, it comes out to be $28,050. Okay, so just adding everything up, we do come out with $82,500. That's just our confirmation. We're making sure that we've included or allocated all of the cost of $82,500 that went towards supervision. Okay, so what does this tell us? Out of $82,500 of total costs that went towards supervision, $14,850 went to materials department, $4,950 went to personnel department, $34,650 went to manufacturing, $28,050 went to packaging. That's what that tells us. So I go over here and I just draw a line through supervision that lets me know that I've taken care of allocating the $82,500 in cost to those departments. And I'm just going to do the same thing for utilities and insurance. So I'm going to put in the 4 departments again, and this is going to be a rinse and repeat process. Okay, and then totals. Okay, so this time we're going to be using the square feet that's occupied as an allocation base. So the square feet that's occupied is going to come from here in this chart up here. Oh, there we go. And so the square feet, let's go ahead and put it here. I'll just put square feet. For materials, or in the materials section or department, that's 25,000. For personnel, that's 5,000. Manufacturing, that's 55,000. Packaging, that's 15,000. So the total square footage in all four departments came out to be 100,000. Okay, now we're just going to apportion the square footage that was occupied in each department by the total square footage that was occupied in all of the areas. So I'm going to take 25,000 and I'm going to divide it by 100,000. And that's going to give me 25%. 5,000 for personnel divided by 100,000, the total number. That's going to give me 5%. Manufacturing, 55,000 divided by 100,000. That's going to give me 55%. Packaging, 15,000 divided by 100,000. That's going to give me 15,000. 15%. Okay, so 25 plus 5%, that's 30. 30 plus 55, that's 85. 85 plus 15, that's 100%. That lets me know that we've included all 100%. We're going to be including all 100% of the total costs that went to utilities for each department. So that's good there. And they kept it easy for us when it came to actually determining the percentage allocation. Excuse me. Excuse me. Gotta clear my throat. All right, so the next thing we're going to do now, since we've already determined the percentages here that's going to be allocated to each department, we're going to now just take the total cost of $50,000 and we're going to just do the allocation. We're going to allocate 25% of it to materials department. That comes out to be, let's see, $12,500. 5% of 50,000. That comes out to be 2,500. 55% of 50,000 comes out to be 27,500. And 15% of 50,000 comes out to be 7,500. And just to confirm, we add all of these up, it comes out to be 50,000. That lets us know that we did allocate all $50,000 of the costs that went towards utilities to each of these departments. And what does this tell us? It's tell us that out of the total cost of 50,000 that went towards utilities, 12,500 is going to go towards the materials department, 2,500 is going to go towards the personnel department, 27,500 is going to go towards the manufacturing department, and 7,500 is going to go to the packaging department. Okay, so I go back here to the exercise. I'm just going to draw a line through utilities. That lets me know that I've taken care of allocating the full $50,000 to all four departments. Lastly, we got insurance. Insurance, a total of $22,500. The allocation base is going to be asset values. So I'm going to just do the rinse and repeat. Go ahead and just set up this chart here. So materials, personnel, manufacturing, and packaging. Okay, now this is going to be asset values that we're going to be using as the allocation base. So asset values, so for materials is 6,000. For personnel is 1,200. Manufacturing is 37,800. And then packaging, it's 15,000. So this total amount comes out to be 60,000. Just scroll up, just make sure I'm correct on that. Yes. Now, just like the last two, I'm just going to go ahead and take the asset value that occurred in each area and apportion it to the total amount of the asset values in all four areas. So this is going to be 6,000 for materials divided by 60,000. That's going to come out to be 10%. Then 1,200 for personnel divided by 60,000. That's going to come out to be 2%. Then 37,800 divided by 60,000. That comes out to be 63%. And then 15,000 divided by 60,000. That comes out to be 25%. So we do the math. We got 88, 90, 10%. So that's 100%. So we did include all 100% as an allocation here of the total costs of the insurance. So last step, we're going to now take the $22,500 in total costs that went towards insurance, and we're just going to allocate it based on the percentages that was determined for each department. So 10% of 22,500, that's going to come out to be 2,250. 2% of 22,500 for personnel, that's going to come out to be 450. 63% of 22,500, that's going to come out to be 14,175. And then 25% of 22,500, that comes out to be 5,625. And so we go ahead and total this up. This comes out to be 22,500. That lets us know that we did include all of the costs that went to insurance of 22,500, and we did allocate them amongst the percentages that was determined to each department. So this is our insurance. And what does this tell us? This tells us that out of 22,500 as a total cost that went towards insurance, 2,250 went to materials department, 450 went to personnel, 14,175 went to manufacturing, and then 5,625 went to packaging. So I'm just going to scroll over here, and I'm just going to draw a line through insurance. That lets me know that I've included all of the total costs of 22,500 to the insurance department as far as we're allocating it amongst each department.